Hello and welcome to the Balanced Business Dad Podcast. This podcast is just one part of the Balanced Business Dad movement. This movement provides a platform of the important pillars of life while building this council of dads to support each other as we work to balance our lives. The 6 pillars of life that we strive to balance are our faith, our health, our marriage, fatherhood, brotherhood, and our business. We are here to build a council of dads to celebrate wins and as well as to share the challenges of being a husband and a father, and all the while working to keep our pillars in balance. The goal of the Balanced Business Dad movement is for dads to be better in all things, balanced, because everyone in our lives deserves it.
Fellow dads, welcome to another episode of the Balanced Business Dad. I'm your co-host, Dustin Hogue, and with always, my friend, my partner, my senior, Mr. RJ Campbell. RJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. People are eventually going to wonder if I'm in my 80s. By the Dustin sells that. I mean, I'm close. Yeah,
it's not much difference. Yeah, it's not much difference. Guys, we hope you are doing well. Hope you got so much out of the last episode. We have another phenomenal guest with us today, someone who understands business, someone who's self-employed, been in a couple different businesses, it seems like, but someone who knows how to help build a business, which is so huge in all of our industries today. So, guys, dads, welcome to the podcast, Mr. Steve Buzogany from the East Coast. So I probably butchered that name, but Steve, welcome. How are you, sir?
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me, guys. And
awesome.
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, I love it. So I only know Philadelphia. Literally, the only thing I know from there is Rocky.
Let me guess. Oh, I thought you were going to say cheesesteak.
No, I'm a Rocky guy.
Okay.
Yeah, huge thing about Rocky, actually, that maybe we'll get into if we have time. But we want to hear about you, your business, and who you are and that kind of thing, because you have a company called Appreciation Advocate, which I love that. You were or still are, not really practicing. Is that correct? You're a real estate agent?
Yeah, basically, if you're in the club and you're like a past client, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not like going to actively we go out and chase new business.
Yep.
You're not calling a bunch of cancels tomorrow? Not just calling cancels tomorrow to try to find more leads?
No.
No, exactly.
No.
Well, cool. So, Steve, let's just start with it, and kind of you take it away, but tell us, what's going on in your world today. I've been reading a little bit at your website and I want to talk some of that, but let's tell us, who Steve is first before the business side. So let's take it away.
So I'm basically as average Joe as you get. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything too exciting or over the top. Like in school, I was not like Mr. Super Brilliant. I mean, I did well in high school, and then through college, I averaged B's. Like 3.0 was my grade point average to graduate college. So like, I'm not Mr. Brainiac. I did accounting as a major. I am a numbers guy, but I'm not a numbers guy 8 hours a day for 30 years. So I obviously didn't go into accounting. I never actually did a day of accounting as a professional. I ended up in real estate only because almost like a panic move, because I was like, I need some career that doesn't have a high barrier of entry that will pay me well if I work hard enough. And because I decided to quit accounting literally in my senior year. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to go finish this thing so I can get mom's piece of paper that she wants. But other than that, I'm not doing this accounting thing. So outside of that, I mean, which is weird because, being in sales, self-employed, I'm more, I wouldn't say I'm an introvert totally. But I'm definitely more on the side of introvert than I am on the side of extrovert. So like, yep. I do like my alone time a lot, and I don't like being in large groups of people for very long periods of time. So like I have these things called Steve time, Steve days, where I just take a day, like once a month, I'm taking a full day off, and I'm not talking to anybody, not talking to my wife, not talking to my kids, their dogs, nothing. Okay. And it's like basically a reset day where you just kind of recollect yourself. And that's like the introvert in me coming out. Right. But it's weird because like, in sales, you think, and I was talking to someone else and they had a great point about the whole introvert extrovert thing. And I think it really is a misconception where introvert isn't necessarily that you don't like other people, because I do like human interaction. I do have fun with it, but it's not whether you like people or don't like people. It's more of where you draw your energy from. and introverts draw their energy from within, and extroverts draw their energy from outside.
Mm-hmm.
So I always used to say, I tell people all the time when they're extroverts, I'm like, that sucks. I'm so sorry to hear that. You're so dependent on the energy of other people. Because as an introvert, I don't need anyone else. I get my energy from inside myself. Like if you're like, I have one of my good friends, Sean, he's extroverted. So like he is so dependent on other people. And during COVID, he was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Like, what am I going to do? I'm like, oh my God. And so that was, so it's an interesting thing. So that's basically it though. I'm a normal guy, does nothing super special. That's all.
Well, sometimes that is super special, just being normal, right? Because we're not trying to go out there and do other things, which I love. But I will say, I understand what Sean was going through because I do get my energy from people. And it's one of those things I do, and I know I do, and it is, I'm completely dependent on that. But if I need to light up, put me in a room and I'll light up. It's interesting, nice. But so we all have to know our strengths. So I love that.
Yes.
But it's funny. The older I get, the more solitude I like. I actually bought a campground, with land and acreage and stuff like that. I'm good for like an hour out there by myself, and then I'm like, all right, let's bring on the people. So
I go down there and I just mellow the whole weekend. It takes you 15 minutes to get into campground time, is what we always joke about. You just bring the body down, or everything just slows to, I'll get around to it in a little while. It's campground time. And I can stay there the whole weekend. And Dustin, by about 8 o'clock on Friday night, he's like, where are all the campers coming in? Where are all these people? Come on, bring it in. I got to drive around the golf cart and meet everybody that's out here and draw some energy.
Exactly.
Which is not a bad thing at all.
No.
So, Steve, you're married, isn't that right?
Yes. Yep. Very happily.
How long have you been married?
2017. So, our anniversary was in July. So we're like 5.5 years now.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And kids?
Then the 2 kids. We got the 2.5-ish year old and both boys, 2.5 and 7 months.
Okay.
Wow.
So they're fun. They're a lot of fun. Reese is the older one. Blair's the younger one. And it's just so funny because I thought, Reese was the easiest child in the world. And then Blair is like super Mr. Chill as well. And we call him Captain Happy because he's always happy. But there are some differences. And it's like, you're not ready for them.
Yeah, we say that all the time. I have 3, and we just assumed the second one was going to be just like the first one. And our first one was super chill. And then our second one, great kid, but he was just high energy. He was the one that wanted to be entertaining all the time. He was dressing up, put on a show. Just we're like, man, I thought they'd be the same.
Nope. Yeah, nope. No, this second one is like, he's on a mission to be determined. Like 7 months old, he's like, I know what I want. I got what I want. I must have it this way. And whereas the other first one's like, yeah, I mean, let's go with this thing. You guys want to do it that way? All right, let's do it that way.
That is so true with mine. So I have the 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, a boy and girl. So my boy is the oldest, and you can, to this day, you can redirect my son if you don't want him to do something and get out of that, whatever. My daughter, you cannot redirect. Like she's on a mission, and it's going to be this way, and come hell or high water, she's going to get her way. And I've said it before jokingly, but now the more it happens, I'm really afraid of my daughter. She is a determined soul. Is the best way to put that.
Is she getting that from you or from mom?
That's a great question.
I know. I feel like I'm determined, but I feel like I care about the people who I have to get out of my way to get what I want, where my daughter does not. No, there's no empathy inside of my daughter. Where my son's like, oh, are they okay? And my daughter's like, I didn't even see them there. So,
oh, sorry, did I just drive the steamroller over there?
Exactly. Yeah. Excuse me. So that is so funny. It's so funny. We talk to so many dads on this, and the parent aspect is one of those things that, well, nobody tells you how to do it. And
yeah, that was a weird feeling.
It's such a weird feeling. And then you give your own parents some grace because you're like, wow, that was really hard to raise me. Now I'm doing this on my own, and you didn't teach me how to raise somebody else because you were learning how to raise me at the same time. So it's just one of these cycles that God is helping us through. But man, when it's happening, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, the most surreal thing for us was when we brought our oldest home from the hospital for the first time, like after the nurses aren't taking care. It's like, all right, where's the manual for this thing?
Yeah.
That's what we always joke about. They come with no instruction manual.
Yeah, what the
and
hell?
you
They're
can,
like, oh, away you go.
and you can
and
kill
that's it.
these things if you're not careful. I mean, they
Yes.
need food and water every day. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And they just turn you loose. You're 24 years old or whatever. I was 27 or say it's 27. And like, here you go. Take it. I'm like, oh my, I can barely take care of myself.
Right.
Yeah, right. I
you
barely
go.
know how to put my underwear on.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me
So
take care of
true.
another person.
So true. Well, that is a funny segue because somebody who's raising two children in a new marriage, 5.5 years, compared to RJ here, we're going to call that
35.
new. Yeah.
Wow. All right. I have all kinds of things. I'm 35. That's older than I am.
I still, I almost dropped an F-bomb on that one too.
Let's see if we can get you to pop one before the end of the episode.
This will be our first episode that gets the little E by it for, that's explicit content.
Gets the bleep.
There you go. I love it. So tell us, what it's like. Well, first of all, tell us about the business, and then tell us what it's been like to how long have you been in this business while you're growing this family that's obviously on the forefront of you. So let's just talk through that.
Yeah. So this is a newer business to start up 2022. So
Okay.
But real estate, I've been in for 10 years, and I actually big Brian. Brian Buffini. You're in real estate.
I do.
Right? Yeah. So I'm a big Brian Buffini guy. So I used basically his whole teaching method of being relational versus transactional, and got to a point where I was doing 73% of my business by referral, and I was like, wow, this makes a whole lot of sense. And then I became kind of known as like the quote unquote referral guy in the office.
Okay.
And that's where people, the agents were like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, yeah, just do what Brian Buffini says. Just like everybody knows who this guy is. So they were just like, yeah, but how do you apply it to Philly? Because we can't do like pop buys and, stop by and see people because we got like condo buildings that are, 40 stories high or whatever. Or we're in row homes and there's 50 homes a block, and porch pirating is like a big thing. So you can't really like stop and leave a gift like on a porch in every neighborhood we got. So I just basically started applying different things. I won't get into all the details, but basically applied all of those same principles in different manners to make sure the gifts did get there. And then I started teaching other people, and and the thing that kept happening was, I don't have enough time for that, or that's a lot of work, or that sounds all great, but I'm just I don't have the time, and I don't have the time, and I don't want to do it. Was like the two most common ones, and I was like, well, there's a market there.
Wow, that's a business opportunity when you hear that over and over.
Over and over and over. So I'm like, all right, well, let me just do it for you, and you can just pay me, and I'll do it. One, because I love doing it, and it's so much fun. I mean, you don't really get negative reactions from people when you show up for a gift and it's custom to them, not to you. So true. So it's like, you light up someone's day, and I get to do that for a living. It's like, oh, cool. It's you're not doing the good old cold calling back from when I was younger, when I was doing the for sale by owner cold calls in 2014. And it's like, another one of you friggin' realtors.
Yeah.
It sounds like we cut our teeth the same time, because I got my license December of 2013 as well. So 10 years. And first of all, I could still today cold call an expired and a for sale by owner like nobody else's business. But man, I really don't want to do that.
I can't. I never could, and that's why I got into Buffini and stuff, because I was like, I can't do this. This cold calling thing. No, I said I'm not doing it.
It's rough.
It was like it is rough, and I'm not good at the one-on-one, like the cold pitch or work my way in. I'm like think about it like a pot of boiling water. Like when you go to boil water, you don't put cold water in a pan and then put it right on the range, unless maybe you're RJ. But like you warm.
Well, now you gotta start the fire first. You gotta get the cold.
You gotta warm it up first. Like you start with the warmer water, and that way doesn't have to work as hard, and you don't have to wait as long. Yeah. Sorry, RJ. You unofficially became the whipping post of this.
I love it.
That's right. I control the mute button, so all of a sudden everybody's like, how come we can't hear Steve anymore?
That's weird. Bleep them out like forever.
No, but you're so right.
Yeah, that's basically it.
So, well, let's talk about this business. So you were doing the Buffini method for people who aren't in real estate.
What is
Brian
that
Buffini.
for people like me that are not real estate people?
Yeah, I'll let you explain that, Steve.
Yeah, basically it's work by referral is what he teaches. So it's, doing phone calls, focusing on your best people, phone calls, writing handwritten notes, popping by with gifts frequently. And then obviously focusing on your best people first. And then once you've hit them a certain amount of times, you move out of the circle to like the A's, B's, and C's. But your best people first, and make sure the best people get the most attention. And then when you do that, you get more referrals. And then that's basically what I've taken those principles and put them into a service to help not just real estate agents, but basically because I knew it wasn't just real estate that suffers to say thank you to clients and appreciate on their best people. I mean, we could do, auto dealerships and financial advisors and insurance people, like all that stuff. So that's basically what the whole principle is of Buffini.
Yeah. So now your business, you're helping them set up a path to do it, or you're doing it for them. What does that look like? What does your business actually do?
A little bit of both, actually.
Okay.
So yeah, basically, if you're in a service kind of business or if you do sell a product, whatever it is, we basically, you tell us what you want to do, you give us your best people, and then we basically put together a whole package for you. Tell you, hey, look, these are our recommendations. You can go for it or don't. Long story short, we put the plan together, you sign off on it, and we're done. And then we execute it for you. So you don't have to do anything. You just sign off on the plan and then we execute it. And we're kind of like the funny way to put it is like Santa gets all the credit at Christmas, but the elves build all the toys. So basically we're the elves and you're Santa. So we do all the work, you get all the credit. So you just got to call your clients. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. So,
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome. So when, you said you started that last year, 2022, what did that look like for you? You kind of went from a real estate agent into this business. What were some of the struggles, growing pains, or was just everything perfect and it was a great success overnight? Tell us about that.
I think it's more of it was actually fairly seamless because with real estate, we have our own schedules. So you can kind of manipulate the schedules to work with you. And with me, I'm not to toot my own horn. I am the master of the schedule. So I love playing with this thing and moving it in ways that make the most sense for the most time off and when I can be most effective here and there and still get the job done. So with real estate, it was nice, but also because the principles of how I practiced real estate and how I do this, they're almost the same. The only thing that's different is I'm not doing my clients, I'm doing someone else's clients. So now I'm just, and appreciation advocate is invisible. So if I'm doing your real estate clients, they're going to get gifts and prizes and whatever else and personal notes that are all going to be from Dustin. There's no appreciation advocate brand on anything. There's no boxes that say appreciation advocate on them. That's all you. I'm as invisible as possible. So that's
I like it.
how we do that. Yeah.
Wow, you really are the elves.
It's pretty seamless.
Yeah,
pretty seamless.
Yeah, you are the elves. You're doing all the work and we get all the credit.
Basically. Yep. That's it.
So you're even writing notes? Is that what you said? Handwritten notes? So are those coming
we
from your
have different
team?
packages. Yeah, we have different packages that do that. So we have 3 tiers right now. We're working on a couple other projects that I think we're trying to do something for mompreneurs. But we're still putting that together. But we do have 3 tiers, and the second and third tier do have personal notes in them where we actually handwrite them for you.
Wow.
Nice. I love it.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
I love it. So I'm gonna call you out a little bit, but the master of the schedule, and so that is something that so many business dads, I guess, is a challenge, right, or an opportunity to get better in. For me, I mean, I own, I don't know, it's 7 or 8 businesses now. RJ owns 4 or 5, so there's always this thing. All right, man, we gotta be purposeful with our schedule. So what are some of the tips and tricks that you could share with the other dads that are in business for themselves? How are you so good at that schedule? I would love to hear that.
All right. So you're going to freak out. I'm going to tell you this and don't freak out. I wake up at 3:45 every morning
Okay.
Except on weekends. I don't, obviously just I live a normal life and wake up at like 6 or 7 on weekends. but so 3:45, I go to bed around like 9 usually. So it's a late night for me right now.
Right. Yeah.
But I go to bed at like 9, wake up at 3:45. So that's like just short of 7 hours, which is not unbelievable. Like sometimes people say 3:45. Oh my God, that's insane. Are you crazy? Like I'm not going to bed at 1, guys. I'm going to bed at 9. So it's still almost 7 hours of sleep, which is fairly normal.
Yeah.
So then basically what I do is, 4 to 5 in the morning is gym time. So then you get the gym in, and you basically have 5 to 7 undisturbed, which it was before I had kids. It was 5 to 8 undisturbed.
Sure.
So, but now the kids wake up around 7. So I basically have 2 hours per day, 5 days a week, to do extra things. And completely undisturbed. No clients are calling me. No kids are waking me up. No wife's waking me up. Like nobody's bothering me at that point. So I basically 10 hours extra per week to literally kick life's butt and take over. So 10 hours a week, which is an extra 40 hours a month times 12, 480 hours extra of work that I put in that no one else does. Because nobody else is waking up at that time. And then, the gym's already out of the way too. Like that, everything's taken care of.
Yeah.
And 480 hyper-focused hours.
Yes, that's true.
So,
they're undisturbed.
Yeah, it's like 960 hours of normal work day.
Right.
I mean, you're getting twice as much done.
Yeah, plus it's right after the gym. So I'm fired up and I'm awake.
The furnace is running hot. Got plenty of energy.
Yep. And it's all there. And and you feel good too, because it's like, oh, I got the gym out of the way. That's nice. Yeah. I don't have to that's not hanging over your head after an exhausting day with clients or friends or whatever, or family. And you still got to go to the gym at 6 or 7 o'clock. It's like,
it's the worst.
That it is.
I'm a morning workout person. Dustin is too. He gets up earlier even than I do. And my wife's the opposite. She'll go and work out at night for after watching a show or before, and then do an hour on the treadmill in our gym in the house. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna sit right here in my gym shorts on, and I got that crap done at 5:30 in the morning. There's no way I would do it at night. Yeah. No way.
Yes.
So love that. So what I'm hearing, your first tip or trick, right, to master that schedule is literally just do what other people aren't doing. Right. So I love that, being extremely purposeful in the morning before the world starts disturbing you. I love that. Yet you're purposeful with your time because you're going to bed at 9 o'clock, right? That's 7 hours of sleep is kind of my goal every night, is I want 7 hours of sleep. Sounds like you're getting that, which I love. So it's just probably not a lot of Netflix binging, from the 7 to 10 p.m. what a lot of other people are doing.
I don't watch TV. So
right.
I mean, I have a few shows that I do like I do think was that Jack Ryan or whatever. Yep. I thought that was a cool show. So but I'm not like a complete live under a rock kind of guy. Like I do have some fun shows that I like to watch. Of course, I love watching the Eagles. I mean, hoping we get to the Super Bowl this year.
There's a good chance. Dustin, that's a football team. That's the NFL we're talking about.
The basketball team. I'm not a sports guy, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, man, jokes are coming, man.
Yeah.
But so I'm locked and loaded over here. But yeah, so I'm I love my Sunday football with the Eagles, and I got and a few shows like Jack Ryan and a few others. So I'm I enjoy those things. It just, you have to, the other thing to add another tip in here is to be disciplined with your time, is to know what you're worth and to operate within your purpose there. So I know that it is my job to focus on money making activities. So I know when it came to real estate, now this was not so true in my first year because it's just pure lack of experience, but now 2012, 2013, 2014, I was still learning. 2022, 2023, I know what a bad client sounds like the second I start talking to them. I know when they're not approved. I know when they're lying to me. I know what questions to ask to make them tell me the truth, even if they don't want to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
So I can do all of that over a phone call, where now I don't have to go out, drive out to this house and find out that they're not pre-approved. They already have a real estate agent they're working with. And they also, by the way, their credit sucks and they have no money. So
you had that client too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All the time. So I have these people, and I don't have to deal with that anymore, because I know obviously that's a purposeless appointment. And now I can focus on, making sure that, okay, you are pre-approved, you don't have a real estate agent, and you have some money and some credit. So that's good.
Nice.
So
I like that. A purposeless appointment, right?
Yes.
Dads, I want us to stop right there and reflect on that. How many of our appointments, if we look at our calendar right now, right, which I live off my calendar, and yet how many of those appointments are purposeless? That's a good reflection. That's homework for everybody out there listening right there. Look at your calendar and take that check. Are the appointments purposeful or purposeless? I really like that word. Thank you for sharing. Sorry to interrupt.
This could be personal time too. This is not just business appointments.
Yeah. That actually brings me right into the next thing. Is your personal time. You've got to set it yourself at the beginning of the month or whenever you want to set it. Pick a time, but you've got to set that time. And then those personal appointments, you've got to keep them like you keep a regular appointment with the client. So like when someone says to me, like my last Steve day was the 23rd of December, where we have a beach house, and I went to the beach house by myself for the day. No dogs, no kids, no wife, nothing. So, and I just got to reset and just hang out by myself, look at the water, go to the ocean, have a beer by myself and just enjoy it. So, but like of course, the second you do that, everybody wants to hang out with you that day.
Yeah.
So, they always tell you, if you're ever having a slow job in business, just plan a vacation.
So
everybody will just start coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, that's when all the phone calls and all the emails pile up.
Yeah, so of course. So when you do set that personal time, whether it's a whole day like I did or like I do every month, or even if it's just like a weekend, maybe you just want to have a Saturday afternoon to yourself. One of those Saturdays are for the boys type of thing. Like just you got to guard that thing like Fort Knox. And when someone says, you don't have to tell them, like some people, when I was selling real estate, what I thought was the weirdest thing was like, I tried to book at a showing on certain houses, and the other realtor would always be like, oh, sorry, I got XYZ. And they tell me all about their life. Like I asked, I'm like, just tell me you have an appointment and I'll understand. And then I'll pick a different time.
So true.
Like, so like I'm just like, so that's what I do. Like when people say, oh, Steve, I'd like to see you on December 23rd. I'm like, oh, that's okay. So, I apologize. December 23rd is completely booked. A lot of people want to go see houses that day. But what else do you have available? Yeah. Like, I don't have to get into tell you, oh, well, I do this thing called a Steve Day where I go by myself for a day, and you'll never believe it. It's the greatest reset I have ever had in my life. I'm not going to go into all that stuff.
That's so true. What's funny is the guy who got me into real estate, my mentor, and then we were partners for a while, but he used that. Everything was an appointment to him. Everything was an appointment in his world. That's
exactly right.
Right. Exactly. And then we became really, really close. And like him and I would be drinking on his boat, and he'd be like, oh no, I'm on an appointment, or on my way on my appointment. I'm like, wow, that's not really what it is. You're out partying, which I love, and I'm okay with that. But then what I started doing is I'd be like, hey, you want to do this, or can you do this? And he'd be like, oh no, I got an appointment. I'm like, you liar. But it was because he had the appointment to himself, which is so crucial. So I love that. That is so crucial.
Yeah. That's really, really important.
So that kind of brings us into the next part, right? We talk about the balanced business data and keeping balance. So it sounds like you do a terrific job of making sure that work, especially as a business owner, doesn't overcompass everything else. But what else besides the schedule are you using, in your business, in your family life, with the pillars that we talk about, to make sure that, you're maintaining all the balls up in the air that you need to be maintaining? Is there anything else?
Yeah. So Brian Buffini, actually, being the mentor that he has been to me, he has a great quote called, when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. So basically, when you set those values up, which for me, personal time, family time, and basically those are the only two for me. So like everything, those come on the calendar first. Everything else, it's like that. What is it? The jar where you put the big rocks in first, and the medium size, then the small ones, then the pebbles, then the water. That's how you fit it all in. You pick the big stuff first. Knock out the kids and the wife time, and then once that's on the calendar, everything else falls behind those. So, and if the kid has a daycare or whatever, okay, my drive to take him to daycare is first, and then you want to go see a house, or you want to talk about your gifting plan, whatever, that's fine. That happens after 7:30 in the morning or whatever. So yeah, the priority, that quote from Brian is the one that makes it really, and it's so true because I've lived it, having heard him say it and then practice it. It's probably the most true quote I've ever heard ever. Yeah. Because when your values are clear, the decisions are so easy. It's like, okay, I have like a couple of questions I always ask myself. It's usually 2 questions before I get to the third. The third I never get to because the first 2 are always yes or no. But basically, I ask myself, would God approve of this? Would my wife approve of this? Does this set a good example for my kids? So I don't usually have to ask the third, because if one of the other 2 is no, I'm never going to get to the third.
You probably stop anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, it's usually hard to get to even the second one, because if God's not going to approve of this, my wife's probably not going to approve of this.
Right.
Pretty good chance.
Yeah, it's a pretty good chance. So, but on the odd sense, I'd definitely never make it to the third one.
Yeah, and you come out of the industry with the most screwed up schedules, because I do real estate photography, so I'm dealing with realtors all the time. So they're calling, can you do shoots on a Saturday or a Sunday, or they're calling at night, or they're texting me at night, hey, what's your schedule? I'm thinking, but you can't blame them, because they have the crappiest clients in the world, which are us, just regular people trying to sell a house, and their clients are calling them at all hours. They're not respecting that they only work from 8 to 5. They're getting calls at nights and emails at nights, emails on the weekend, because people just don't even realize. And so that's why I always think when I work with realtors, like, man, these guys have they have to have one of the most difficult jobs of juggling personal time, because their clients, us, don't really think about it that way. It's what they think guys operate on should be on my schedule, and I'm free on Saturdays, so that's when I'm going to talk to you or try to call you.
Oh yeah. That was big. That was big during like 2020 with the COVID stuff. It's like, I need to go see a house like in the next 2 hours. You're available, right? No.
Yeah.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday at 7 p.m. Yeah. No.
Yeah, you're not doing anything, right?
It's so interesting, as I coach, and I coach probably primarily real estate agents and real estate investors these days. But with the agent thing, and then the other businesses I coach, it didn't seem like it was as much of a challenge as it is for real estate agents, because real estate agents have this bad persona about being what we call a Pop-Tart agent. When someone does something, they pop up, yes, I'll go show that house, because it's, it's that commission breath. It's that commission breath. Yet what we've seen is when you treat it like a business, like your attorney would, your doctor would, your dentist would, and they treat it like a business, your clients start respecting you more.
Yes, that happens. That does happen. Once you start declaring your time, that does happen. It starts to take over, because now they start to respect that you now have declared your priorities. And then when your priorities are clear, your decisions are easy. And then they see that and they respect it.
Yeah, and I think they almost respect you more, right? Because they're like, oh, he is a professional, or she is a professional. Where if you just say, hey, I saw this house on Zillow, come show it to me right now, and they immediately show up, it's like, not really professional there. So I love that. That's that mindset for all the dads out there listening. You don't have to be in real estate to have that mindset yet, especially all the real estate agents out there. Make sure we have that, right? Make sure that you're protecting your time. So I love that. That's huge. And quote Buffini on that: when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. Is that what it was? Easy.
Yep.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
we'll
that's
put that
a great
in the show
one.
Notes.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to live by.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that was a big thing for me, because but when we first got married, my wife and I, it was really hard with separating from my family of origin and kind of branching out to become a new family. And that's I know that's such a hard dynamic. I have a 100% Italian mother, so you can imagine that dynamic was not fun. So and I know I'm not the only guy that deals with that. So that's where that quote came in and really kind of saved my life, saved my whole marriage, because you have to decide what the priorities are. Because then once you have, for about 3 years, I didn't have the priorities straight, and all my decisions were extremely difficult. And then finally you get these priorities straight, and it's like, oh, all right, well, that doesn't help my marriage, so I'm just not going to do that. Or I'm not going to spend time with those people in that place, because that doesn't help, that doesn't answer those 3 questions in a way that I should live my life.
Yeah. That's so true. That kind of goes back to one of my coaches. It's everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else.
Yes.
Right.
I like
So, when you say yes to that client or that appointment that might be purposeless, you're saying no to a purposeful appointment. And that purposeful appointment could be that, as Steve calls them, his Steve days, or maybe it's Steve and wife days, or maybe it's Steve and baby days, whatever it might be at that point. Right.
Yes.
So I love that, man. Guys, this is
I do
good
too.
stuff.
Yeah, that's for us operations guy. We would call that an opportunity cost. Everything has an opportunity cost because you turned down something else to do. You took on that job you didn't want, or a tough client when you didn't have an appreciative, whatever you said yes to, or going out with your buddies to the bar. Has an opportunity cost that you could have been home with your wife and kids. Yeah.
Yep. That's the word I use in my head is the opportunity cost. So I'm with you on that one, RJ. Because I'm like, okay, if I go show this house, what am I missing? Okay, am I going to miss 3 hours with my kids on a Saturday? Yeah. That commission check is not worth that 3 hours.
Wow.
Right.
And now here's another big thing that I did is as a small business owner, you got to do this. So if any dads listening, if you own a business, you got to know what the hourly rate of your time is worth. So that was what a big change was. So like when I first calculated it at my, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. At the time, it was like $1,300 an hour.
Yep.
So then it's really easy now. There's like, one, my values are clear, so my decisions are easy. But two, now I know, is that worth $1,300 an hour? And it's a 3 hour thing. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to bail. I am not about to miss out on $4,000 because of some schmuck that doesn't have a pre-approval or whatever.
Yeah.
So
true.
So that knowing the dollar value of your time will make you say yes and no to things a lot easier.
So true.
It's not really, it doesn't make it a question. It's like, all right, is that worth $1,300 or is that worth $2,500 or is that whatever your time is worth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then now you're putting a financial number on it. People think differently when there's money attached.
It's so true.
Great measuring stick.
I coach on people creating a vision of life. And when I am so crystal clear about it, and we talked about some of the principles that you use, plan out your calendar first. But the last thing you put in that calendar in your vision is the hours you're going to work. Right? Because so many people think that we have to work 40 hours a week because Henry Ford created this in 1900 whatever. Right? Henry Ford came up with the 40-hour work week. He never called me. He never said, Dustin, do you agree with these 40 hours? Are you good with it? Because the answer was no in my world. But once you...
he asked RJ, though. RJ.
He did. They were friends.
and I can tell you, he was my younger brother. You know what's funny about that, though? Here's some trivia for you business guys out there. The work day was 10 hours before Henry Ford. Factories ran 2 10-hour shifts. And so then they were down 4 hours a day. Now, back then, equipment probably needed to be maintained a lot more than it does now. But that was just the standard. Henry Ford was like, hold on a minute. If I cut them down to 8, I can run 3 shifts. I don't lose that 4 hours. We're running around the clock. Of course, then you wanted to work 7 days a week. But that's where the 8-hour workday came from. Actually shortened from a 10 to be more productive and to beat us into the ground even more.
Yes.
There it is. Okay.
So true. But with that, once you realize... all right, these are the hours that I'm committing my life to work. But this vision, you have to calculate what the cost of this vision is going to be. I'm going to live here. I'm going to have the vacation house. I'm going to have the beach house. I have to figure all this out. So then you also have to figure out what your dollar per hour needs to be. Because if I'm only working the 15 hours a week, but I need to make this amount of money, well, then everything I do in those 15 hours a week has to make this because this is all I'm allowing myself to work. Right. Sure. So it's kind of the same principle you say there. So I love that. We're definitely on the same page with a lot of that. It's great stuff.
Cool.
Totally different way of thinking when you're an entrepreneurial mindset like you guys have.
Yes.
Totally different.
You have to be because and that sometimes with my wife because she's not in the entrepreneurial space. She's more in the corporate America space. So like we do have a little bit of a disconnect whenever we talk because she tells me like all of the politics in corporate America. Whereas like in the entrepreneurial space, we don't do the brown nosing thing. Like we know there's literally like I could literally kiss ass all day long and that wouldn't help anybody because that wouldn't help my job. Like I could suck up to anybody for 9 hours a day and it wouldn't make a difference in my income.
Right.
Whereas in corporate America, that may have an effect. So
it's so true.
Yeah.
The corporate America is something that RJ brought to light. I've been self-employed for, like I said, 10 years, and I've done a plethora of conferences in real estate and business conferences and stuff like that. Well, him and I went to Funnel Hacking Live in
my God, it's such a cool event.
It was so cool. September of 22. And besides, it was such an amazing event and amazing speakers and amazing people we met there. RJ was so just amazed, I think is the word.
Blown
for
away.
It.
Yep.
That so many people were on stage talking about their faith. Because corporate America, you can't do that.
No way.
Oh yeah, no, you can't do that.
And I work for big corporations. Like so we had a sales meeting where we're having probably 7,000-8,000 of us that were salespeople around the world that are coming in. There's no way somebody's going to get up on stage and mention something from Scripture.
Or start with a prayer, right?
Or start with a prayer. Yeah. That's what I was so blown away at this thing. I'm like, wow, entrepreneurs are totally different. They don't have rules.
Yeah. There are no rules. We make the rules.
Exactly.
They made the rules.
We are the rule makers.
Yeah.
So that's one of the funny things is like my wife's like, why everybody like when I go to her company parties, you can tell they're so fake. And the people there, it's like, oh, you hear it, and you can tell like, oh my God, that's so nice to meet you. Like I'm like, you don't give a crap. You don't even know you probably forgot my name. I just told you it like 3.5 seconds ago. But like, and then we go to my company parties or like my Remax Christmas party, and she's like, oh my God, your team is so awesome. I'm like, yeah, because they got nothing to win or nothing to lose by being nice to you. Right. Yeah, they're just going to be nice to you.
Wow.
I'll tell you one more story about just being in corporate America versus entrepreneurship. So I was at a Keller Williams, right before I have my license. I don't anymore, but I did. And the team leader, they had to be more of a corporate person in the organization, where because they're recruiting, they're building the organization, they're asking about sales numbers and stuff like that. And I'll never forget, he was a new team leader, so I was probably a little mean, but I think I taught him a really good lesson. But he sat down and he's like, Dustin, I want to talk about your numbers today and tell me about, your sales and what you're going to do this year, and just numbers. And I told him, until you can tell me the name of my kids, you do not deserve to ask me about my numbers.
Jeez.
And he was blown away by that because he came from this.
That'll shut him up.
Right. He came from this corporate America environment where he probably couldn't even ask for somebody, about somebody's family or their kids. But it changed the way he definitely managed. But I think that's the cool part about entrepreneurship. And dads, especially all you dads in business out there, are thinking about doing it. It's different, but man, it's a lot more fun in my opinion. There's a lot less rules, and you get to be who you want to be, I think is the best way to word that.
Yes, that is. Yeah, you make the rules.
Yeah. I like that. I wrote that down. We are the rule makers.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah. I love that. Steve, this was an awesome conversation, man. Thank you so much. When we came across each other, we knew we wanted you on the show because, well, your principles in life, your principles in business go along with everything. And it sounds like, you're building this amazing business while you're staying in balance to make sure the things that are important, or as you call them, as your values are clear, your decisions are easy. I love that. Thank you so much. Where can people find you, or what are you working on these days where people can find you?
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to something where you want us to come do your client appreciation for you and your business or company, or even your employees, like maybe not your clients, your employees, just reach out to me. Just send me an email directly to steve@appreciationadvocate.com.
Okay, I love it. Yeah,
super simple.
Yeah, love that. Well, cool. Dads, as you know, we have a lot going on in 2023. There's going to be a lot that we're going to be pushing out. One of them is the Dad Up Council, and that is where dads can lean on one another. So it's a brotherhood, right? Which is one of the pillars that we know is so important. But it's to hold each other accountable. It's to be so transparent with one another, instead of hiding and keeping this stuff in. The Dad's Up Council, RJ will put the link to in the show notes where you can look up this, but it's 7 coaching calls a month plus a brotherhood. And it's calls over each pillar that we talk about, and it's really how to be teach you, let us learn, and how to be better every day, I think is the best way for us to say it. Is the Dad Up Council will allow you to be better every day in all things, because the people in our life just deserve it, for us to be better. That's my goal, is to wake up tomorrow and be better. So,
that's it,
guys, that's what we have. RJ, tell them where to find us, and then we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for listening. And as I always say, that the bit, this podcast is free. It's out there. It's a service for all the dads to listen to, and what keeps us going. If you go out to Apple, Spotify, whatever it is, give us a review, give us a rating, give us 5 stars, and that helps it get out there and people hear it. And you can reach us. The easiest place, of course, is we do have a Facebook group that's just the Balanced Business Dad. You can look that up. Then you'll get some conversation there. And Dustin mentioned the Dad Up Council. That's a private group, but we'll give links on how you can find that, and you can join there. The podcasts are always at thebalancedbusinessdad.com. But the Balanced Business Dad, it's a group. You have to look it up, join. We'll bring you in. We've got probably close to 300 dads doing life together on that group. Put a little content out there, and we lean on each other. That's the big thing. It's this is what we need. It's what we don't have, and that's what we really need. We need that brotherhood, and that's what this is all about.
Awesome. Guys, let's talk soon, and we'll see you on the next episode.